I'm going to give it to about 12:31 just so that everyone can join. I just want to let everyone know that this webinar is going to be recorded. And if you missed the first part of it, we'll just upload it onto our S&P YouTube channel. And you can just search up Sean and Parker Center and it should come up with all of our previous webinars as well. Okay, I think it just hit 12:31. Welcome everyone to our monthly Ask the Expert webinar. And this month, we will be featuring Dr. Suzanne Barshow and Joshua Lim. Do you guys want to take over?
Yes, let me just share our slides really fast. All right, hopefully everyone can see the slides okay and can hear us as well. So today we're going to be talking about how to navigate college as a kid with allergies. So thank you for joining our Ask the Expert. Josh and I are really excited to give this presentation today. It's a little bit of a change of pace with a practical discussion of information that you or your child with food allergy can use to make the transition to college a more seamless one. We've got a lot to cover here, but we welcome any questions or comments from the audience, and we'll take those at the end of the presentation. All right, so we just wanted to introduce ourselves briefly. So my name is Suzanne Barshow, and I'm an allergist, immunologist, and clinical assistant professor here at Stanford in the Sean and Parker Center for Allergy and Asthma Research. Like many who are in this field, I am personally connected to it. I do have a family member who's got multiple food allergies, so I'm very much invested and passionate about improving the lives of patients who have food allergy. Of special interest to me is really understanding early life exposures and risk factors behind the development of allergic diseases, including food allergy, eosinophilic esophagitis, and atopic dermatitis, in addition to novel interventions to really prevent and treat these conditions.
Hi everyone, my name is Josh, or Joshua Lim. I'm a student at UCLA studying applied math and statistics, and in the summer I had the opportunity to serve as a data analytics intern for the Sean and Parker Center. In 2014, I began my first round of OIT for wheat at the Sean and Parker Center. In 2017, I began multiple food OIT, and since then my life has drastically changed. I can now eat functionally unlimited wheat, a bit of egg, and quite a bit of soy and milk. In my research over the summer, I was researching the effects of GI symptoms on the outcomes of OIT and the use of machine learning models to convert between different allergy grading schemes. At UCLA, I stay very active with gymnastics, volleyball, and swimming.
All right, so now let's get started. College is a very exciting time, as we all know. We're all looking forward to it at that age, but there are a lot of changes and the transition can be daunting. Josh, of course, has a lot of experience here. So Josh, what would you say are the biggest changes and challenges that college students can expect?
Right. So the first biggest challenge in college is your living environment. You're moving to a completely new place. For a lot of first and second years, you're moving into a dorm setting. And after that, you're moving to an apartment. You're moving away from home. It's completely different. And with that comes a bunch of different challenges. You no longer have your home kitchen. You no longer have your home refrigerator. You need to figure out a different place to store your doses, a different way to prepare your doses. Another huge difference is you have more autonomy. No longer are your parents there at 5 p.m. every single night to say, take your dose, or don't eat that food, or look out for labels. You are now on your own. You have to make those choices. You are now using all of the things that your parents have taught you to successfully manage college with your food allergies. One key difference that I did not anticipate is college has a very variable schedule. And a variable schedule means that, for example, in high school and in middle school, my schedule is pretty much the same, right? You wake up at around 8 o'clock, you go to school from 8:30 to 3, go do your after school activities, go eat dinner with your family, take your dose, maybe study, do homework. In college, you can have classes starting at noon, you can have classes starting at 2, you can have classes starting at 8 a.m. Your day may finish at midnight, it may finish at 1 a.m. And making sure that you have all of these scheduling things down will really help you succeed with your OIT and eating food at the right times to make sure that you don't have allergic reactions. The biggest challenge for me, the biggest scare, the biggest point of anxiety going into college was, of course, the new dining options with potential risk of cross-contamination. No longer do you have your parents' food, no longer do you have like maybe your school's dining accommodations. You are going to a place with a completely different food setting, especially if you're moving halfway across the country. It may be a completely different cuisine almost. And of course, college also comes with a bunch of factors that can increase the risk of allergic reaction. You may be doing a lot more sports, you may fall sick, there may be a lot more stress in college, and hopefully a lot of college students get enough sleep, but I know a few friends with not enough sleep, so lack of sleep definitely is another factor.
Yeah, these concepts are all so important, and these apply to food allergic participants who are doing strict avoidance, and they also apply to people like Josh who are doing daily dosing, who are on OIT. So it's definitely factors for everyone to consider. But since Josh is kind of in that special group of people who are on OIT, I'd like to have him discuss some of the specific and unique challenges to OIT.
Right. So in order to keep up my partial desensitization and full desensitization to wheat, I'm still doing OIT in college. And this comes with its own challenges because every single day, despite my busy variable schedule in college, I'm still trying to take a milk dose, a soy dose, and an egg dose every single day. So what does this look like? What does it look like in college? Well, one key challenge is getting your doses every day. A lot of times at home, I had the luxury of coming home to a fridge filled with all of my milk doses, all of my egg doses, all of my soy doses, perfectly prepared by either the clinic or my parents. No, they are not here to do that for you anymore. For example, this may include shopping for foods, taking time out of your day. One thing I like to do is my math class in South Campus is very, very close to Ralph's. So after math, I will go over to Ralph's with my friends and buy maybe 2 things of milk, and that will last me for 2 weeks. Proper food storage. This is huge. A lot of first and second years live in a dorm setting. How do you store your doses in a dorm setting with so little room and maybe not the best access to a fridge? We'll discuss that in housing accommodations later. Dose timing is huge. As I mentioned before, with variable schedule, you want to make sure you're doing your dose safely, not too close before sleep, not too close before exercise, not too close after exercise. Trying to fit that into a busy college schedule requires a lot of planning ahead and making sure that you stick to a really, really, really good schedule. And missed doses or other challenges. College, there's a lot of things happening. There's going to be a lot of different events, a lot of curveballs thrown at you. You may miss doses. And in that case, it's really, really important to communicate with your allergist to develop a dose plan to get you back on track and to not allow your missed doses to impact your OIT overall. In the event that you do have an allergic reaction, and unfortunately I've had mild, not too severe allergic reactions, hopefully yet, but it is really, really important to know where your local ER is. I have the luxury of having all of the UCLA hospitals literally walking distance down the street from my dorm, so my roommates also know where that is and they're able to take me if I have an allergic reaction. I cannot stress the importance of carrying EpiPens wherever you go. In college, a lot of people do maybe carry 2 things on them, a phone and an ID. It's really, really, really important to carry an EpiPen on you in college because you never know what place may have accidental food exposure. If you're gonna like try something with your friends, it's really, really, really important to carry an EpiPen on you. I always carry a little UCLA bag that has 3 EpiPens in them. And then also education and training of peers. You're probably going to live with a roommate for your entirety of college. And having your roommate be epinephrine trained and knowing of your food allergies and being able to help you was one of the best decisions I made. When I've had my allergic episodes in college, my roommate, bless him, stays up with me and makes sure I'm okay. He's walked me to the ER several times. I've also notified my RAs and my neighbors saying, hey, if my roommate's not here, here's what an EpiPen does. If I ever need you to do it, here's how you do it. So educating your peers, having that support system in college to be confident that if you have an allergic reaction, people around you will be able to help you.
And just adding on to that, it is really important to take ownership like Josh has done. And, I would say also talk to your allergist and get a food allergy action plan from your allergist. You can print that out. It will have your epinephrine dose. They usually put an antihistamine dose on there as well, list your food allergens. You can distribute those to anyone who could be involved potentially in helping you manage an allergic reaction. Knowing yourself what your medication doses are, keeping them on you, knowing their expiration dates, and knowing kind of what conditions to keep those medications in. We know we can't keep an EpiPen in a hot room or a hot car. If it gets discolored, you shouldn't use it. Those are all really important considerations that now that you'll be managing your own care more than you have at any time in your life, are really, really important to keep in mind. And so that was a lot of information, really, really valuable information on a lot of logistics to consider. But while college is a time of independence, this doesn't mean that there aren't resources available to you that can make this transition easier. You're definitely not alone, and this can be managed. Every university is a little bit different and they have slightly different programs, but we'd like to go over some of the resources that you should be aware of. So Josh, how can college help you?
Right. So one thing I was definitely scared about is I thought I was all alone in this, in going to college. But when I started reaching out to my university, especially reaching out early to the disability office, I found that they had a lot of resources to help me. And so we divided the next section into 3 parts. We have housing accommodations, dining accommodations, and academic accommodations. And so we'll begin with housing accommodations. I live in a double, which is also air conditioned and has a private bathroom, as well as a micro fridge and a refrigerator. Sorry, micro fridge, which is basically a microwave and a refrigerator combo. So because I'm still on OIT, I need a safe place to store all my doses, right? I'm taking a soy dose, an egg dose, and a milk dose, all of which are perishable. So I reached out to the university and said, hey, I am basically on this really strict OIT schedule. It is a medical necessity for me to get a micro fridge. And they're like, okay, awesome. We got it for you. So basically I use it to store my doses and it makes doing OIT that much easier. It's basically a necessity, sorry. The other thing I also have is a private bathroom. And I know a lot of dorms, especially for first and second years, will have kind of a communal bathroom on the floor. But for me, having because I'm in OIT and because I have a real chance of having an allergic reaction, I felt the need that I needed to be able to get to a sink or get to a toilet really quickly so I could wash out my mouth, or it would be easier for me to dose. So having that private bathroom and that microfridge were 2 really, really big accommodations that helped me continue OIT in college. And so just to reiterate, for housing, I reached out to the disability office really early, the minute I knew I was going to UCLA, and those housing accommodations came very, very, very nicely and have helped me be successful in OIT for the past 2 years.
And certainly if you're not on OIT, some of those might not apply to you, but the point is that there are accommodations available, and you can certainly ask for things that would make your transition easier. All right.
So for dining accommodations, this one applies to everyone, regardless if you're taking OIT or not. If you're on this webinar, your kid or you may have a lot of food allergies, and this is one of the most anxiety-inducing things, eating at a new cafeteria. So when I first found out that I was going to UCLA, my first point of action was to reach out to our school's dietitian. And our school's dietitian was basically able to take us around and kind of show us what we can eat. It was good, but I felt like I had to do a lot more research myself. And one of my most strategic moves in dining accommodations is looking at our school's online menus days in advance before I even go and eat in a cafeteria. I have the luxury of having a dining program where everything is labeled extremely well days in advance. So basically what I do is the night before, I will go onto my iPad and I will scroll through all of my dining options and basically filter all of the allergens I can't eat. And basically in doing this planning, when I go to an actual residential restaurant or a dining hall, I'm able to be like, I already did my research. I know exactly what I can or cannot eat. However, this does not combat cross-contamination. Cross-contamination is a very, very, very real thing, and I see it actively happening in cafeterias. For this, my strategy is to eat options where I see kind of the food being prepared in front of me. At our local Mexican place on campus, I see them physically making the tortillas and the tacos and the burritos, and I see them cross-contaminating the cheese into the guacamole on a daily basis. Am I going to get that guacamole? Absolutely not. I can see it right happening in front of me. For things where it's happening kind of behind the scenes, it is a little bit more dangerous, but luckily I have quite a bit of protection from my partial OIT. My key strategy, though, is to have my 1 or 2 backup options. And what I mean backup options is something I've eaten on campus a million different times. The dining schedule does rotate. So in the event that they rotate into a schedule where I have something, I can't eat anything at a dining hall, I go to one of my backup options at a different place on campus where I'm like, I've had this before. I know this is an extremely safe option. So always having that those 1 or 2 backup options on campus that are for sure, like, have never caused any kinds of allergic reactions can be really, really, really beneficial in trying to plan out a meal schedule for you.
Fantastic. And then finally,
so academic accommodations, not a lot of people talk about this, but having allergies can definitely impact your ability to succeed academically at UCLA. And I did not get these accommodations super early. I didn't realize that I was eligible for them. But basically, I realized that in doing my OIT schedule and having the chance of having an allergic reaction every single night because of going to dining halls and stuff, there was a very real chance that it would be hard to not only wake up in the morning, but also to concentrate in class. And so I reached out to our school's academic accommodations office, and they basically gave me adjusted attendance, which basically means that if I have an allergic reaction the night before, I just fill out this form, I email my professors and say, hey, I had an allergic reaction, please excuse me. And the school's disability office will vouch for me. I know this is a very specific thing for my school, but the key takeaway from this is communicating with your professors that you have food allergies and communicating with your disability office who can then vouch to you for your professors is really, really, really important in continuing OIT and in dining and still maintaining really, really good grades and getting everything out of college that you want.
okay, so just to summarize all these really excellent points that Josh just went over, start early. I think that's the biggest point there is find out what resources that you would like to request and that you're eligible for, and start talking to folks early, whether that's a dietitian, housing office, disability office. Just reach out kind of as soon as you know that you're going to be attending that school. And if you don't know if you might qualify for something, just ask. Worst case scenario, you don't qualify, but the only way you'll find out is by reaching out and talking to those people. For housing, Josh mentioned for him, room with air conditioning was important as well, to avoid excessive temperatures, especially in hot Southern California, since we know that can potentially increase the risk of allergic reaction, access to refrigeration for his OIT dosing, and then microwave and sink for that as well. For dining, Josh has worked closely with the school dietitian. He reviews dining hall menus in advance. And then, like he mentioned, it's important to know which options are higher risk than others for that cross-contamination and to have backup options and food sources. And then finally, for academic here, just be diligent about communicating your needs with the disability office and your professors. Keep in touch with them frequently and make sure you have that relationship so that they know that this is an ongoing medical necessity for you. So now, just because Josh does have so much expertise with OIT, specifically in navigating college, as someone who's daily dosing, we wanted to kind of give some further insights into, a day in the life and ways that he's found to incorporate daily dosing into his busy undergraduate schedule.
All right, this is my favorite part of the presentation because I kind of get to take you a day in the life of Josh Lim. So college, you kind of get to choose your schedule, but I do not always rise the earliest. So at 10:15, which is quite late, I wake up and I walk to class. Wonderful UCLA weather. It's always a great walk. At 11 a.m., I have my first class, numerical analysis, which is math. At 12 p.m., I go for a swim, warm LA weather. It's an awesome time to swim. I just came from a swim, actually. At 1 p.m., I will eat lunch, usually some kind of ramen or some kind of fried rice, and that will be my egg dose. And I measure that quite well. I take a quarter egg every single day. And so in ramen, they'll kind of give you like a half soft boiled egg, and I will take half the half, which is a quarter. Then at 2 p.m., I'll have my linear regression theory, which is my stats class. I'll have complex analysis after that. At 4 p.m., I'll walk to my dorm and do some studying. And then at 5 p.m., I'll have dinner at a dining hall on a full stomach. At 5:45, I will have my milk dose and soy dose. And then at 8 p.m., I will have gymnastics practice. At 11, I'll finish, return to my dorm and study. And then at 12:30 a.m., I will sleep. So this is a jam-packed schedule. I love to live my life busy. I love trying to do as many things as I can do in college, but there's some certain key strategies worked into this schedule. First of all, notice where my doses are placed in my schedule in proximity to my exercise. So for example, especially at the milk dose and soy dose at 5:45 p.m., I'm taking my dose and I'm waiting a full 2 hours before I am starting any kind of physical activity. And that full 2 hours for me is good enough to completely eliminate the risk of having an allergic reaction due to exercise. Same thing with my egg dose on campus. I'm swimming a good amount before and I'm not swimming right after my egg dose. I'm positioning my lunch in a way that sets me up for success in OIT and basically eliminates the risk of having an allergic reaction before exercise. Furthermore, I'm not taking my dose right before any time I'm going to sleep. I'm taking my dose at 5 and then I'm sleeping all the way at 12. This really helps me not have any allergic reactions due to going to sleep. The other thing I wanted to say was that even though my egg dose and my milk dose are far apart, I'm still taking them in the schedule and I'm still trying to hold this schedule on a daily basis. Yes, my dinner is early, but it's pretty much a necessity if I want to go to gymnastics at 8. So making sure that your schedule is planned out and trying to have all of these things lined up ahead of time can really lead to a successful OIT schedule. Basically, plan in advance, plan time between your doses, plan time around your doses, plan time around your sleep.
And the other thing that Josh does really nicely with his schedule is he's making sure that he's taking all of his allergen doses on a full stomach. So he's not taking an egg dose in isolation. There's other food. And the same thing with his milk and soy dose. Those are at the right around the same time or just after dinner. So that can also decrease your risk of an allergic reaction. So he's really planned his schedule out to help him succeed here. Okay.
And then college is fun. Your allergies should not, it's really hard to live with allergies sometimes, but it should not be a limiting factor at all for your college experience. In fact, if you guys are on OIT, it should be opening up so many different doors as it's had for me. All the pictures of food here are all options that I can only eat now after post OIT. So you'll see a lot of pasta, you'll see my 200 dumplings that I hand fold in one occasion. You'll see the ramen that I eat in little Japantown, and then you'll see me having fun with my friends. OIT is really, really opening up so many doors for me. It's amazing. And just managing my food allergies, keeping a really, really good schedule allows me to live my college life to the fullest. I exercise 20 hours a week, and it's a wonderful time hanging out with all my friends and being so active and still having amazing food options that I am comfortable eating with every single day. So enjoy college. It should really, really, really be fun.
Well, thank you so much, Josh, for sharing your expertise and kind of your firsthand inside knowledge on really how to succeed in college as someone who not only has food allergies, but a step further is taking OIT to manage them. I think I just want to echo your sentiments that college absolutely is a fun time. It's a big step. There are a lot of challenges, but if you plan in advance and kind of know what you can and should ask for, you absolutely can succeed and thrive. So thank you so much, everyone, for your attention. I will stop sharing my screen here and we can take any questions. I think there might be something in the chat, so I'll take a look here. See.
I can also stay on a little bit past if you guys have extra questions. We don't have to end right at 1 because I know a lot of you probably have a lot of different questions about college, and I'm happy to stay on for about half an hour more and answer them. So
do you see the questions, Josh? I think both of these are directed to you, but they're really fantastic questions, actually.
I do. These are great questions. All right, I'll read the first one. What are examples of your backup safe food options you use on campus? Right. So there are two, there's a place on campus that never has a rotating schedule or has the same or offers like the same food every single day. So that's a really safe option for me. It's our Mexican place, which I usually get a steak bowl. So in the steak bowl, I'll have just steak, rice, beans, tomato salsa, and lettuce, which is really, really, really allergy friendly. And what I like about the way that they make their food is basically all of the meat, rice, and bean stuff happens before any of the sour cream and cheese stuff. So I'll kind of confine my bowl to that first part, and then I'll be like, all right, close it, and then I'll take it and go. So that way I'm kind of avoiding all of the other stuff. All right.
I can read the second question for you if you want, Josh. But the second question is, great info. Did you ever have the experience where your roommates used or contaminated your doses in your refrigerator? And how easily did roommates accommodate your needs?
Yeah, so this is a really, really, really important question because you are going to be able to you will have to share your refrigerator with your roommates. So in this situation, what I did is because I'm kind of past like the OIT where you have like individual bottled doses, I kind of just had like a quart of milk, which is kind of hard to cross-contaminate. And I would basically just communicate, hey, all my soybeans are in this bag. Please don't let anything touch it. And we'd kind of partition our refrigerator into like my section and his section. And my roommate and I are just really, really good friends and we get along. And so we just kind of communicate really well to each other. So I think establishing that rapport with your roommate and communicating, of course, is really, really important. So hopefully that answered your question.
And then this last one asks about partial OIT. I'm not sure I recall hearing you say that, but
I think that I may have called it partial desensitization. And basically what that means is since I'm still currently dosing on milk and egg, but I haven't fully like, for me, I can functionally eat unlimited wheat, but right now because I'm still dosing on egg and milk little bits, I'm not fully unallergic to it yet. So I can only eat my quarter of an egg a day, right? So
okay, yeah. So to clarify, many of our participants who have been in clinical trials for oral immunotherapy get to a certain point at the end of the trial where they can tolerate a certain amount of that allergen in milligrams or grams. And so they need to continue to take that dose daily to try and maintain that desensitization. So that's where Josh is for those two foods that he just mentioned. Hopefully that answered that question.
All right. The next question is, how do you handle the pressures of drinking when you may be allergic to drinks? Also, how do you handle dating when your partner may have eaten something you're allergic to? Okay, so I don't have super good answers because I'm actually have never ever had a drink in college. Thanks, parents, for raising me well. But I will say that yes, there's a lot of pressure in college to drink and stuff, but usually what I do is I kind of like just get my red cup and I fill it with guava juice or something, and I can like socially drink along at the same time. So maybe that will help. Maybe filling it with an option that you know is well, like with water or something, can have you like you can still like kind of socialize but still be kind of part of that party and still be safe. How do you handle dating when your partner may have eaten something you are allergic to? I think that comes with a lot of communication. I think communicating, especially if you go to a restaurant, communicating like, hey, I'm allergic to these things. Just making sure that your partner knows that you have allergies, I think is really, really, really important to communicate ahead of time. Because yes, I have heard of people kissing and getting allergic reactions. That is not a good thing. Hopefully,
and the important thing too is, even if you're diligent and you're looking into what may be in a drink you purchase or get anywhere else, whether that's a smoothie or a different kind of drink, there can be accidental exposures. Even if your partner is fully aware of all your allergies, there can be accidental exposures. So absolutely having EpiPens available at all times, making sure your friends know how to help manage an allergic reaction, those important concepts all hold true.
All right, the next question is, what if your kid does not want to continue OIT? And this is a very real question because it is very hard to keep an OIT schedule in college, and it is very hard to keep on wanting to dose every single day. But I will say, hopefully sharing success stories like mine and other successful stories of kids becoming fully allergic to OIT will help give them the motivation to say, hey, I know it's a long process, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's something that will be unlocked when you finish this. So hopefully trying to kind of like see hopefully the food options that will be unlocked by continuing OIT, and just reminding them that above all, OIT is really, really helping your safety, especially with cross-contamination, will hopefully encourage them to continue doing OIT. At least that's what I do for me. Like, I know it's super hard to maintain egg and soy, but every single time I remind myself like, hey, you couldn't eat dumplings 3 years ago, but now you're eating 50 in one sitting. You should do that for all your other allergens. So that's what reminds me to keep on going with my OIT.
I think that was this question. And then just a comment for wheat OIT. Did you have anaphylaxis to wheat before OIT?
Oh, sorry, I forgot
severe?
to answer that question. Yes, so I was completely anaphylactic to wheat. I had to use EpiPens for wheat before wheat OIT. And that process, that OIT, I think took about 2 years. I built up to a maintenance dose of about 2,000 milligrams. And then from 2,000 milligrams, I food challenged into 8,000 milligrams. And then from those 8,000 milligrams, I began just trying to, I think I took like doses of like maybe 3,000 milligrams, into the point where it was just like, wow, I'm eating so much wheat protein. I can eat functionally unlimited. So I just started incorporating wheat into my diet pretty regularly, and it just turned out to work magically. I can eat basically unlimited wheat now. It's wild. I eat 7 plates of pasta in the dining halls a day. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question.
All right.
All right, for those not doing OIT and have severe allergies to wheat, egg, and peanut, do colleges have food prepared in a safe kitchen, or can first years possibly stay in an apartment with their own kitchen? Absolutely. So one option that the dietitian, I mean, it will vary from school to school, but this was definitely a concern. This was definitely like a situation I had in high school where I didn't have as much OIT protection as possible. There's one food, like there's one like healthy dining option themed cafeteria in campus that basically had chefs. The dietitian introduced me to them, and we basically set up a plan. They're like, hey, if you ever want to eat here, we can specially prepare like a little bit of food for you in our kitchen. Just notify the front desk people and we'll have that done. Luckily, I never had to use that option because I felt comfortable eating in a lot of the other places. But to answer your question about first year's apartment, definitely, because if that is a medical necessity, and the disability office will have to take that very seriously. So basically what the process of me getting my housing application is, I think this will hopefully answer your question, was I apply through the disability office, and then the disability office will then vouch for me in the through UCLA Housing's programs. So basically, I present all of my medical documentation and my my dosing schedules to the disability office. Then they write a recommendation to housing, and housing basically has to follow that recommendation to a T. So basically what you would do is you'd say, hey, I have really severe food allergies to the point where I need to cook for myself, to the disability office, and the disability office would be like, hey, we recommend them a single occupancy apartment with a kitchen and stuff. And then you would kind of go through that process. So reaching out to your disability office, I think there'd be your biggest advocates for getting that apartment. So hopefully that answered.
Just adding on to that, it may vary school to school, but just ask early, see what you can qualify for. If your allergies are severe, you have EpiPens, that absolutely is a medical necessity, that there's a safe place for you to live and study. So I think we've got 2 more questions. I think we can quickly answer them, and then we might need to start petering off here.
All right. Have you had a reaction while at UCLA, and how did you handle it? Yes. This was me being bad, and this is why I tell people to always read the menu. But I go to this cafeteria where they sometimes serve fries, and the fries are really good. And I had the fries a lot of times. In fact, I considered it one of my backup options. One day, I did not read that menu that day, and I did not realize that they replaced my beloved fries, which had none of my food allergens, with Parmesan fries. So guess who decided to accidentally eat the Parmesan fries? Me. Upon eating the Parmesan fries, I didn't go into anaphylaxis because I had some partial desensitization to milk, which was awesome, some protection from milk, but I did have itchy throat, trouble breathing, swollen. So I went through my processes, and I took my Benadryl, I took my antihistamine. And the lovely thing is that I had my roommate monitoring me for the entire duration that it lasted. And in that situation, taking that, I think I took Atarax, knocked me out. That knocked me out for the rest of the day. And so that's a time where I'd use my academic accommodations and say, hey, I'm not feeling super great to go to class because I had an allergic reaction the next day. Professors, please excuse me from my attendance the next day. So yes, it has happened, but having, again, that support system that I managed, knowing that my RA was going to help me, knowing that my roommate and the people next door were going to help me, really, really helped me get through that episode. So again, what I will say is I think, Suzanne, we also should mention this, but like coming like with autonomy in college, it also comes with managing your own medications a lot. Like
Yeah.
you need to be on top of which medications you have. I have all of my medications perfectly organized in my closet. I have like my emergency meds perfectly organized in my backpack. I'm able to tell people, hey, my EpiPen is in pocket number 1, the front pocket of my backpack. Hey, my EpiPens are in bin number 2 in my closet. So having that organized and having people being able to help you is really, really important in the event of allergic reaction.
Yeah, and adding on to that, of course, if there's ever any problems breathing, I would advocate for giving an EpiPen there. Of course, I wasn't there for your reaction, but that did make me a little concerned. The worst case scenario, always, you always have your EpiPen available. It's always better to treat sooner rather than later. Epi is quite safe. And like Josh had mentioned, if his reaction had been worse, he knew where the local emergency rooms were. He knew kind of where he could go for further help. So those are all really, really important as well.
All right, so I think this is actually a very important question. So happy to hear about your success with WheAT OIT. Awesome. At what age did you do WheAT OIT, and what age were you able to reach full freedom with WheAT? So I started OIT in 2014 at the age of 12. I reached full freedom in around, I want to say 2017. So that's at the age of 15. And so why this time frame is really important and why I applaud my parents in doing this was that it was before college. We did OIT in middle school and in high school to prepare me for college. In doing it, it's really, really hard, I know, to convince middle schoolers, especially to do their doses and stuff. They're beginning to get rebellious and stuff. And I'm so glad my parents made me stick through it, because now I can live a much freer life in college. So making your child stick through OIT, especially in middle school and in high school, is going to set them up for success in college. So yes. So I started at 12, about 15, I reached full freedom.
And then the final question, I think that's fantastic. Congratulations to your child for graduating OIT several years ago, and continuing to eat them on a regular basis is really important and fantastic. We specifically only see patients here at the Sean Parker Center for our OIT clinical trials. So we don't have the ability to see other participants, but Stanford University, Stanford Children's does have allergy as well, who can see post OIT participants. So you can certainly reach out to them.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming to our webinar. Make sure that you are reading our flyers. We will also be having another webinar next month. We always do this once a month. And just again, this will be recorded and posted to the Sean Parker Center YouTube channel. And that's where you can also find the previous recordings as well. Just a heads up, the next webinar will be February 22nd. On a Wednesday again, and it's going to be about food allergy fears with our family therapist, Marte Matthews. So please join if you can, and please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions at all. We are more than happy to help and answer your questions. Thank you again, Suzanne and Joshua, for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.